Hey guys, in today's video, I'm spotlighting yet another amazing philodendron, and in this video I'm going to be spotlighting this philodendron right here, the Prince of Orange. Now I've had this guy for quite some time, and like I said, in this series and in this video, I'm going to be repotting this philodendron. I'm going to be explaining to you guys what all are the crucial care tips, so basically everything you know to get the right conditions so that your philodendron Prince of Orange can thrive and flourish. On top of all of that, I'm going to be describing my personal opinion, whether this is an easy to care for philodendron or a more challenging one. So I'll give my 2 cents on that. And I'm definitely going to be staking this up and talking about philodendron and how to get them to mature and the importance of using a stake or moss pole, and probably a little bit more than all of that. So if you're into all of that, stay tuned.
Value your dreams as much as wealth. What's done is dead and can't be dealt. So I'll stay low key and move in stealth.
All right, guys, so first things first, let's start with the Repot. Here is the container that I'm going to be using. It's got a great large drainage hole as well as a built-in saucer. Now, this pot size or container size is a little bit bigger than I probably would love, but I do have this available and I do want to use this. So in lieu of the little oversizedness, if you will, of this container, I have put a substantial amount of horticultural charcoal. I hope you can see that at the base of this container, and what that's going to do is just make the container size feel a little bit smaller, help with drainage, help with any excess moisture absorption. So we should be good to go. Let me grab my soil mix and explain what soil mix I'll be using to repot my philodendron Prince of Orange, and then we can jump into all of the crucial care tips as well as the benefits of using a stake or moss pole, and how I would describe how easy to care for or difficult to care for the Prince of Orange really is. So here is the soil composition with all of the different ingredients that I'm going to be using today to repot my philodendron Prince of Orange. 3 parts composted pine bark, and I have about 1 part of horticultural charcoal, some grit or any kind of cactus mix will work really well, as well as 1 part peat moss, which has some perlite mixed into it as well. So let me mix all of these together and show you how to repot this effectively using a stake. Thanks for checking out this video. I'm Tyler. If you like what you're seeing or you find this video to be useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, or better yet, you can hit that subscribe button. Now, to really show me some love, click on the bell for alerts and notifications for future content. Oh yeah, don't forget to check out my merch page, tylermossop.com. So I've mixed it all up, and basically at the end of the day, the whole intention or the purpose behind using these different ingredients in the soil mix is to have a soil mix that is super well draining, something that allows the water to really run through, pass through quite easily, as well as something that has good aeration so that the roots can get some exposure to the surface air, and that's what we want to do. If you don't have all of these ingredients to mix yourself, you can definitely go out and get the individual ingredients, or an alternative is you could go out and buy an aeroid pre-made, pre-mixed soil mix, and that will work just fine as well. So currently I've been keeping this philodendron in an orchid pot. I don't recommend that. This is just what I used at the time, and this is definitely not the best kind of situation for this plant, so it's going to be much happier in this pot. Now, I did mention this is a little bit on the large size, but by using that horticultural charcoal in the base of that, that should help too. So basically step 1 is to use, I can use one of my bamboo stakes to kind of gently maneuver this plant out of its current container. I'm gonna fill up some of this current new container with some of the mix first, and then just be kind of aware and conscientious of where the root ball will be, so that I can leave some space at the back to put in the stakes so that I can stake this up as well. So let's see how easy or difficult this is going to be to kind of get out of this container. Shouldn't be too bad at all. So just kind of loosen everything up. This can get messy, so if you want to do this over like a bowl or something, that's fine too. All right. All right, so this is looking like it's gonna lift out actually fairly easily. All right, so I'm just gonna rest that on the top of this because I'm going to add some of this soil mix to this container. Just rest that up on those. All right, so let's add some of this in here on top of that horticultural charcoal layer. All right. There we go. Very carefully, we'll get this guy back out. And let's just loosen some of this up. You can take a look at the roots, but these look very nice and healthy. So that's good. A little bit more moisture than I would like around the root ball, but I think I watered this like a couple of days ago, so it should be all right. So carefully kind of position that where I want it. And then I'm going to need to fill in the rest of this mix into this container very carefully while holding this plant. All right, let me finish filling this up. Be right back. So I was able to add the remainder of the soil mix. I do like to do that first before adding any stake, moss pole, or the like. I did go ahead and add this aware of where my root ball is, which is more towards the front. The stake is more towards the back. I just find that I get a more stable stake that way, and it's nice and firm. I'm going to grab my trusty Velcro tape that I already have here pre-cut, and that's what I just like to use to connect the plant to the stake or moss pole. I can reuse them, and I just find that they work super well. So that's just with one little tie there, and I think that's going to do for the time being. But if you don't have some of your philodendrons staked up, I would highly recommend it. The reason being is by using a moss pole or a stake, especially when it comes to philodendron, you're going to allow your philodendron to mature. And if you're familiar with this, then you probably already know. But if you aren't, it's a really good advice basically, because your leaf size should increase, the plant will develop and mature, and part of how you know that's happening is by getting those bigger leaves as it's kind of crawling up or vining up a moss pole or stake as it would in nature in its natural habitat. So this one hasn't yet been staked up, and I'm glad that it's finally going to be in this better container. It's just a better home with the stake, and it's just going to do much better. But let me bring this around and describe the care tips, some of the issues that I've had specifically with this plant, and how I would rank it in terms of easy to difficult. So here it is, nicely potted up and staked up. It's kind of a doom and gloom day here. Nice and overcast as per usual for fall. So I'm just trying to get a better angle so you guys can just get a better idea of what this looks like staked up and potted up. But I wanted to cover the crucial care tips for my Prince of Orange, and these care tips are generally great for philodendron, generally speaking. So in terms of light, you're going to want to provide a really good bright indirect light for your Prince of Orange. And I've actually found, I'm gonna kind of circle back to this, but I think light has something to do with some of these unfurled or leaves that aren't quite unfurled. So let me circle back to that at the end, but good bright indirect light. You're going to want to water this plant when the top inch of the soil becomes nice and dry, so you can put your finger in. If it seems really dry, then that's a good indication that it's time to water. Watering is always a function of how much light and all of that other stuff, how large the plant is, etc. So just be kind of conscientious and aware of all of those details. This is a pretty small plant still, so it's not going to need too much crazy amounts of water. It's great and necessary to fertilize philodendron. So doing that in the spring and summer with a diluted liquid, sort of a balanced fertilizer is great to go. You can do that probably once a month and then slow that down or stop that over the fall and winter. Just don't forget to pick it up again. And what else? We talked about the soil mix and how using an aeroid mix is ideal for this particular plant, and also just generally speaking philodendron. And I think that kind of covers it all. I guess humidity as well is super important with philodendron, so keeping the humidity level in and around or above the 60% mark is kind of recommended. So I guess the big issue, now circling back to the leaves that haven't quite unfurled that I've had with this particular Prince of Orange. So that's definitely an issue that I've had, and I think that's what makes this sort of like a little bit more challenging. So I wouldn't necessarily describe this as easy to care for. It's definitely, you know, because of this issue, it's been a little bit more of a challenge. I wouldn't really say it's difficult. I would just say it's just not quite easy. It's probably more like down the middle. And I think providing more bright and direct light has helped with the unfurling of some of these leaves. But one kind of critical thing that is really important that I've noticed with this plant is helping the leaves unfurl. Sometimes there's a piece of the stem and, you know, that's kind of covers it. And I'm gonna throw in a little short that I did a while back where I just use a Q-tip to kind of release the leaf from its cocoon, if you will. So I've noticed that with this particular plant and my Macaulay's finale as well, that's something that I really need to do from time to time, is help the leaves kind of escape from the little cocoon that they start their life off in. And then if you don't, what happens is the leaves don't necessarily always unfurl. And I also think that providing a better lighting situation will also help with this issue. So definitely leave a comment below. Is this an issue that you've had with your Prince of Orange, or any philodendron for that matter, where you need to kind of help the leaf pop out, or the leaf isn't quite unfurling all the way? So yeah, leave a comment down below. A couple final thoughts. If you are interested in understanding or being able to basically differentiate between the Prince of Orange and Macaulay's finale, I did a great video on that describing the difference between two plants. They do look very similar, and when you're at the nursery trying to decide if it's not correctly labeled or just determine which one is best for you, it can be a little bit more difficult. So definitely check out that video right up here. I'll be sure to throw up a link, as well as in the description add any other videos related to the Prince of Orange or Macaulay's finale, might as well, in the links in the description down below. Be sure to check out the Philodendron Spotlight playlist on my channel page, so you can check out all of the other amazing philodendron that I have in my collection and that I've been able to spotlight in this mini series. And with that, I hope you have a great day. See you guys soon. Well, that's it for me. Definitely leave a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. And yeah, miss you guys already. Until the next one.